Happy holidays! I am Pat Sloan. I'm ready for the holidays. I have my hat on. Here's my little tail. I have to get like wrapping presents tonight, so I thought I would wrap them and be festive and just pop in here and say hi, do a little fireside chat. You know, my fireside chat is not a specific time every week, but I'm trying to do them weekly. We'll see how that goes. It's not been doing too bad, but I had a little few weeks when I wasn't here and then getting back on the track. So here I am. It's Saturday night, December 22nd. And for Fireside Chat means, I'm just going to tell you a few things which is going on. And I also asked in my Facebook group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, if you had some questions for me. And I said, make them fun. Give me something fun. Yes, I can talk about quilting all day long until the cows come home. But why don't you give me something fun to answer too? So there's a bunch of questions there, and I will read them off towards the end. I'll talk about some other stuff too. I want to share the fabric. I want to show you the fabric for the 2019 sew-alongs, both Out of This World and A Flower Bouquet. I'm going to give you a little up peek of that so that you can, if you haven't been focused on that yet because you were busy doing other things, I can't imagine what you were doing, but if you were, I want to show you what those fabrics are. So in case you decide, you'd like to use what I'm using, there's still a few kits. I don't know that we'll make any more after this group of kits is sold. This is our second or third group of kits that we put out there, so that might be about it. I'm also working ahead, not that far ahead, but I'm today working on the Christmas Fig block, the next one. So this is the book Christmas Fig. If you haven't seen this yet, I'm doing 2 blocks a week from the book in order, and just showing you my tips. I'm doing both this colorway that Joanna did from the antique quilt, and then I'm doing a blue and white. And I'll give you tips on the blue and white. And here's the next block, and that's what I'm working on. I have it's a sew and flip block. They're little bow ties. It's kind of fun because you just make a whole bunch of them. But I want to show you the tool that I've been using because these are smaller, and I want to talk about that. So let's go down here. Take a look. Here are the blocks that some of the blocks I've been working on. This is part of the unit for the bow tie block. So I want to show you what I'm doing. Just see my Christmas scissors. I showed you those. Oh my gosh, how fun is this to have Christmas scissors? I don't know, I guess I'm just a dork, but I really get excited and giddy to have something like that out. They're cute and they work good too. So I've got all of these chain pieces. I need to separate them. Now these being sewn, I sewed corner to corner, right? You can see right on there. I tried to pick one. Maybe you can see this one better. Here, let me get one of the plaid ones. How's that look? So you can see that I sewed corner to corner, and I need to trim away this part. My triangle book shows all that stuff, but I want to give you a little demo of this ruler. This is from Doug Lico, and he has a big ruler like this and a small ruler, and Doug was very creative, and it does, I don't know, it does everything. It might even make coffee for me. It does everything. I'm not, it's got a lot of options, but I am using the one to trim. So this is a 1/4 inch, this marker right here. So basically, I am putting this line right here on the seam. So you can see the seam. I'm putting it on the seam and then just trimming off what I don't need. So that when I do the flip over, it is, and I'll press this nicely on my wool mat. But there, I just will flip it over. And there will be another one on this side because that's how the unit works. There's one on each side. And I chain pieced. So you can see here that I did a whole sequence of them, just chain piecing the unit that will be, sew and flipped. And then I'll go and sew, run the rest of them back through there. So this ruler is pretty cool. I'll put a link to everything in case you want to get it. I really like it. I like the size of it, and I like that there's some other things you can do with it, and he has a whole instruction thing about it. I think he also did a video for Fat Quarter Shop, so you could look for that. But that's pretty much an easy way. I think with the smaller ones, what I like is to use a ruler, because generally I am a little loosey-goosey. I'll just sort of, chop it for the bigger ones. The seam allowance to me doesn't have to be perfect because I'm not going to see it. So I will save time and not put the ruler on. But with the littler ones, I'm a little nervous that I might slip or get too close. So I use the ruler for the smaller sew and flips. Okay, that's the Christmas figs. Okay, another thing behind me is the green quilt is one where I'm using 2.5-inch squares to sew things as I'm doing other things. So basically I call them free quilts. As I'm piecing, I will run 2 squares together to start, do a bunch of things like these, chain piecing these, and then when I end, I'll sew another red and white together. And I'm doing pretty good. I'm getting quite a few. I'm doing red and white. This is like the 4th or 5th one of these I've done. I give them away a lot. But here's a unit, and I have a couple of these units. And if you saw, I showed you this fabric. Did you see that yet? Oh my gosh, do you have this one? It's an Old Debbie Mum. I think this might be the last of it that I have anywhere. So I wanted to show you that because I thought it was kind of funny. It's like, oh, who else has that one? And I showed it on Instagram and people had it there. People had it on Facebook. It's like, use it up. Somebody was telling me about all of it. That I was like, use it up. You don't need that anymore. You don't need all of that anymore. So it's too much. You move the old stuff out. Make room for new stuff. All right. Let's see. What was I going to tell you? Oh, other fabric for the sew-alongs. So I've been super, like sort of super zooming since I've gotten back, because I have to get everything ready for the sew-alongs for 2019. I'm trying to work ahead a bit because I have some other big projects, and it would be better if I could sort of, have these more organized, work ahead, not doing them month by month. That's just the way it is sometimes. So I want to show you this out of this world, the block of the month. So this is one block a month, and it is exciting. It all started with, there's 2 fabrics. Let me show you. This is one of them with all of this sort of really darling space things. See, isn't that cute? Oh my goodness. I saw this and I'm like, oh, it doesn't look childish at all, and the colors are amazing. There's sort of this medium blue and white, off-white and navy. It has the constellations. Yeah, I love, love, love the constellations. I think that's just awesome. And this one that I just so tickled. Oh, the little moons with all the little faces. So this fabric is what started out, why I wanted to do Out of This World. And so it's a block a month, and I have this fabric, then I have a few other pieces, like there's a super cool plaid in there, and some aquas and things, and pops of gold. And the layout's really neat. So you will be able to use, lots of other fabrics if you have been collecting. So a couple of people told me they've been collecting space fabric, so that'd be really cool. There's also some NASA fabric out there, and I'll link to that, because you might find that that's a really neat fabric that you like. You might like the NASA fabric. It's much more space looking than this. This has has little space elements, I would call it. The couple featured prints there have a lot of space stuff. The other one, and there's another one there that has, let me show you this one. That has the moons. Yeah, this one I like too. And it's got the pops of aqua. Yeah, so that one is pretty, pretty nice. It's not, they're not real spacey, and the whole thing, the theme of the 2019, the Out of This World, It's space, but it's not what you're thinking. It's going to be really, really fun. I weave stories into my quilts. That's what I do. I do these quilt alongs to have a step back together, to have a theme that we think about, and tell a story. So there's going to be some really cool things for us to sort of reminisce about or look forward to or think about that are all sort of encompassing in space. But it's not spacey. It's not like, rocket ship kind of stuff. So that, you'll see, it's going to be fun. I'm excited. I've already kind of written up the stories and, well, not all of them, but I never get them all done this soon. That would be crazy. Because I'll think of new things. And some of you will go like, what about this? And that'll be like, oh my gosh, that's really cool. So I'm very flexible because I'm doing this all, myself. I can be flexible. Okay. The other one that will be kicking off first week in January on Wednesday, our favorite day of the week, is my block a week. It's a flower bouquet. And I really wanted something very springy. So this is my basket. These are how I store things. I have these, and these baskets are ancient. I know everybody asks me, where can I get these? This actual, you can see, like it's a plastic, woven plastic, and it has a metal, like wire, like heavy metal that it's wrapped around. But these, if you watch every so often, I was just in Target and like in the children's area, saw some, I think they were in pink and white. They weren't exactly this shape, but they were the same concept. This was from the Container Store, but they haven't had them for a long time. But you never know. They might bring them back, or you might find them in Target, or you might find them somewhere else. So, and I'm noticing that I saw them more in the children's area now. That's not where they were when I got them. So you might just check places. Okay, doesn't this look wonderful? I sorted the fabric by color because I'm drawing the blocks out and the layout, and I wanted to get a feel for what the colors are here and what I have that I'm working with. So let's take a look. Yes, flowers, flowers everywhere. I cannot tell you how excited I am in the winter to sew with flowers. This, word prints, words, words, words. I just love, look at this. Yeah. I love it. Word prints. And there's a bunch of light fabrics. Let me just bring you down here a little bit closer, so you can see. And so I put all the lights together because some are real tonal, but then I have this super cool like little patchwork and this really gorgeous floral, which has got the peach. Then we go to, there's another pop of golds, 2 of them. Got golds in here. And then I love that I put some plum in. And it's pretty dark, which I really like, so it's going to be fun to have these pops of plum. Then peaches, the butterflies, look, sweet butterflies, more text print. It's so cool. And a plaid. I seem to have a theme here. Plaids, plaids. This is really neat. I love this peach. So that's, now I've got the greens. Got some greens here. The pears are awesome. And then grays. And then we have some gray, some polka dot, of course, and white to help with the other lights that I have over here, which are all kind of white based in this grouping. So that is kind of where this will be all sort of the light part of it will be these fabrics. This is going to be a fun layout. It's not a traditional layout, so you're going to have you'll have fun with that. For those of you who need traditional layouts, you can just do a side-by-side setting. It's doable. All right, the other thing is several people wanted to know about which dies came in the Build-A-Block for the Gemini machine combo that I have on 25% off with free shipping. So people want to know, well, what blocks are in here? There is a list, but I thought I would just show you. Again, here we go, open it up. And it comes with, this unit comes with 18 dies. And each die, I've got I've got the papers in here now. So here are the triangles, and these are what the dies look like. So they're not like other machines' dies. I'm trying to do this one-handed. Just grab that out of there. So here is the die, in case you hadn't seen it. They're wires. See, my fingers are through there. Yeah, they're open wires, and they have this ridge on one side, and then on the other side it's flat. So basically you're putting the ridge down on the fabric, and then the machine is smushing it through, and that's how it works. So you have this whole set of, so for this kit that comes with the machine, this kit here has the triangles, it has quarter square, pull that lid off so you can see them, has quarter square triangle set, there we go, and I have the squares, this set of squares. Now they have other dies. This is not the only dies the company makes. They have a lot of other dies. But this is the set that comes. And what I'm doing is when I am doing the flower garden, a flower bouquet rather, sew along, I will actually be cutting all the blocks. I'm going to give you directions for regular cutting with the rotary cutter. You know, we're not going to give that up. But I am going to use these dies to cut the blocks. You know, so that I'll show you, I will go through, and I'm going to do videos. They're not a video for every block, but I want to show you for a lot of the blocks, running it through the machine, how I lay the fabrics to be the most effective. Because like, let's say I'm doing where's triangles? So I'm doing triangles. To be most effective with the Gemini die cut, if I have a green and a white fabric, I would put them right sides together, run them through the machine with the die on top, and then when they come out, they're already together. You just pick them up and sew them. So the whole concept is fabulous and a little bit different, and you will think about, you know, plan it a little bit different rather than just saying, oh, I'm just going to cut a bunch of these. Well, if you put like 3 or 4 seconds of thought into it, you're like, I can combine these. They can already be together like I'm going to sew them, and I don't have to be picking one up and picking one up. I just pick up the unit and sew it right in the machine. And because we're cutting them as triangles, then there's no trimming or anything. You always want to test your 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I'll keep reminding you about that because it needs to be right on, because you're not doing any trimming. They're not oversized. So this is super fun. I'm just so excited about that part. It's going to be a blast. I am thrilled to be able to show you this machine because it is so different. It works so well with my brain. I really like how it works. Okay, I think the fun part, the Q&A. Let me, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go look this up on gonna go sign in to Facebook. Here we go. I have to get the questions that you were asking. All right, are you ready? Should we settle in? That's not that many, but there are some quilt questions and non-quilt questions, and I think I have time to answer them all. This is what the post is that I did. Excuse me. All right. So I have to look. It says there's 34 questions. Oh my goodness. I don't know if we'll get to all of those. There might be some repeats because you know how it is. When you go to leave a question, you don't always look to see if somebody else asked the same thing. So if that's the case, then there'll be less. So Dolores, I was teasing Dolores because she was the first one who left a comment, and she left me like a whole series of questions. So I was like, this is a book, Dolores. Sorry, I was just teasing you. They're great questions. So these are quilt questions. So I'll do a couple of these. She said, you know, what thread do I use? I use Aurifil thread. That is who I work with. Let's see. Let me grab this. There we go. There's a whole pile of Aurifil that I use all the time. Ta-da! That's 50 weight. This is a whole little basket. These are like my working basket. These are grab them for different things. So that's 50 weight Aurifil. She wanted to know, like, what size needle do I use in my, so I assume my sewing machine, 70 or 80, you know, that's just standard piecing needle for everything. I don't think there's really, that's pretty standard. I don't know that people would piece with anything other than that. And then do I starch my fabric? We'll answer that one. I starch it for small patchwork. Otherwise, I don't see any need to starch my fabric. It takes extra time, and I don't need to do that. So unless it's small patchwork, then I find that crispness helps me a lot to make to keep the fabric from stretching. But I'm just careful when I'm sewing. I'm not like pulling it, and you know, just be really careful. Okay. So she asked me, because I teased Dolores. Sorry, Dolores. She asked me a non-quilting question. Do I cook Christmas dinner, or have I been invited out? So like, everybody raise their hand. Who's cooking? Who's cooking Christmas dinner? Raise your hand. Okay, I'm not. I don't cook Christmas dinner. I'm lucky that I have other family members who enjoy doing that. And so I haven't cooked a Christmas dinner since I was a very young woman. Like, you know, my very first home, I think, is when I did that. So Sherry asked, do I have, these are the fun questions. So Sherry asked, do I have a favorite candy or cookie that I like to make at Christmas? So I don't make candy at all. I think I may have tried fudge way back. I did peanut butter fudge from my mother-in-law's recipe, or really it wasn't hers, it was her sister's recipe years ago, but I'm not that keen on making candy. Cookies, when I worked in an office, which had lots of people. You know, I had a staff of 40 people at my last corporate job. And so for my staff, I would bake lots and lots of cookies. I must have made, you know, 15 dozen cookies, whatever it was, tons of cookies. And so I had a whole set of cookies. I made a big sugar cookie, which was similar to my grandma's, but not exactly, because my grandma never gave us the recipe for hers, and she didn't bake very much. And make chocolate chip and oatmeal, and you know, now I mostly make brownies. I like to make brownies, and I don't really have a lot of people to feed batches of cookies to, so I kind of don't do that anymore. So Tanya says, what's your favorite childhood memory? That's kind of broad. Let me think, you know, like that spans a lot of stuff. Favorite childhood memory. I think I'll have to think on that one and think of a specific, because I mean, I had a great childhood. I had so many great things, you know, and I don't know, like childhood being little or childhood being teenager. So I'll give you a teenage one. How's that sound? So I went to Paris on the train with my girlfriends when I was in high school, because we lived in Belgium and we could do that. And we stayed, there were 4 of us, I think, two per room. We stayed in a little place, and it was just incredible, incredible. And I still have a scarf that I bought at that point. Let's see. Favorite Christmas movie? I don't really have one. I'm not a big movie person. I know, it's like, you know, should I even say that out loud? I don't have a favorite Christmas movie. So if you guys have a favorite Christmas movie, leave it down below in the comments, and everybody else can see what they are. You know, I probably like White Christmas, but I don't know that it's my favorite. I don't really have that. Okay, so let's see. So Davina was asking, what did my shipping department do before he became the head of the shipping department? I like that, the head of the shipping department. So Davina, his name is Greg, and Greg worked as an engineer. He's an engineering degree, and he worked in aerospace industry, and then other kind of military equipment industry, and then eventually moved into software. area. So he doesn't do that anymore, but but uses a lot of those skills. He was he did a lot of writing, so that came into play here. So Tammy asked, let's see. Okay, here we go. I'll come back up to that one. So Leslie said that she knows that I travel and I love gardening because, you know, we're doing, where is it, right? We're doing the gardening. Yes, a flower bouquet. There will be some gardening thoughts in there, I tell you. Just a heads up. So she wanted to know, because I travel a lot, how can I, you know, do the gardening? And do I have any tips for plants, or, you know, keeping it nice while we're gone? Well, luckily when we travel, we're not gone for a month or anything like that. So if you're only gone for 5 days, for the most part, for 5 days, my garden can sustain itself. I had to back down the size of the garden a while ago. Greg helped me do that because it just had too big and it got too many weeds. And so during the, you know, spring, it was so hard to get it ready to be nice. So now it's way smaller. I have some containers, so the containers can all go next door to my neighbor, who will water them if we're gone for, you know, too long, or I know it's like August, you know. But also, if something dies, it dies. I'm not like, I'll just get something else to replace it. But most things work pretty good. I keep really sturdy, hardy. Like I have a butterfly bush that I've had for, I don't know, 15 years or more, and it's just really sturdy. Of course, the more water they get, the more flowers they're going to have. But this year we had a lot of rain, so they looked really good all year long. I mean, plants that never look good look good. Okay, is there any remaining items on my bucket list, or have I done everything? Wendy wants to know that. So Wendy, there's always something, right? There's always something that I want to do, like go back to quilts. You know, there are quilts, like I haven't made a double wedding ring in a really long time. So for making, like, not that, it just, I have an interest for it, because when I made my first one, it was only like my third quilt, a double wedding ring, piece by hand and hand quilted. And I would really like to do another one, you know, and do something with that. So, but other than that, travel wise, I would like to go to Hawaii, and I would like to maybe go see the big show in Tokyo in January, the big quilt show. I mean, it's always been on my list of things that I would like to do. Let's see. Charlene says, how do I keep a record of my fabric collections? So this is a great question. I have, I don't know, like 17 collections or 16 collections, something like that. But I keep a set of documentation of fabrics. So if there's pre-cuts, I have one of each pre-cut, and then I have like a 1/4 yard of each fabric. In the beginning, I would keep like 2 yards, but I don't need a 2-yard archive. I just need a little, you know, a small bit of that. And then at my website, if you go to patsloan.com, on the right-hand sidebar is a list of all the fabric lines. And then I need to update, I need to clean that up, and I'll have a new line next year. So probably when I do that, I'll go in and tidy that page up some. So Mary wanted to know if I've taught Greg to quilt yet. Greg could quilt if he wanted to, and he has sewn seams, but it doesn't interest him to actually make quilts. He would rather, you know, fix your car or build a shed. He makes lots of other things, but not quilts. His mother is a quilt maker, my mother-in-law, Nash. You probably saw that the other day when you went over to my website. Okay, Retha's checking in on me. Okay, Retha, you are checking in on me, and I should have brought this out here to show you. Except for there's not a whole lot to show yet. So she asked, how's my hexagon coming along? Slow, slow, slow. So I'm doing single flowers and putting them on the gray background. And I actually just ordered myself a container, which I hope works because I ordered it, so I don't know if it'll work or not, to put the hexagons in as I, make them, so that I can sort of keep them. Right now they're just all thrown in a bag, and that's really not, the bag is kind of jumbled, I'd like to sort them. So there we go. So Sheila wants to know my favorite place to vacation, the beach or the mountains. Beach, 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 beach. I basically like wide open spaces. Years ago, we would go out to the desert. So, that was fabulous. We went out to New Mexico. Then I was quilting at the time, so I would visit the quilt shops that we ran into in New Mexico. That was so fantastic. But I liked all the wide open spaces. That's what I like. So Joanne asked me, was I ever a guest on Sewing with Nancy? No, I never made it on there. Nancy asked me once to fill in for somebody, and I was already working somewhere else the exact same time frame. I already had booked a job and I was on the road, so that didn't work out. It would have been really nice, would have been really fun. Nancy is she's a fabulous person. So Cindy wants to know, what is my favorite Christmas treat? Okay, favorite Christmas treat. I think, I tend to eat more candy at Christmas. Maybe that's not what you're thinking, but I don't have any particular thing I buy or thing I have to bake. Food-wise, there isn't really a thing for me, but I tend to buy Christmas candy that's really nice. There used to be a company that had these like nuggets that was in Pennsylvania, and my mother-in-law would traipse down to the factory that, because they didn't sell them that many places anymore, and get me a box of these chocolates that I only got at Christmas. So she doesn't do that anymore. I'm not even sure they're in business anymore. So let's see. People want to know, let me see, I have to refresh. Got some more questions on here. Let me just refresh this. Let's see, there was something else I saw float by. Somebody wanted to know if we have children. We do not. We don't have pets either. So no kids, no pets. Let's see. How long have okay, Pamela wanted to know how long have I run my business? And it's always been out of my home. She says out of my home. I've always had my business out of my home. When we started, we never had a storefront or anything like that. That's not what I do. But I have been in business probably 20 years, 18 years, starting our 19th year full time. So, full time. I ran it for 2 years as my second job. So I worked in corporate and then worked my quilting business in the evenings and the weekends for 2 or 3 years before I just left the corporate environment to see if I could have my own business, and I did. So here we are. Let's see. Do I have a favorite New Year's, Cindy asked, as a New Year's Day or New Year's Eve tradition? And I'm going to do another, I think I'll do another chat before New Year's. I'll do one with you. But so on New Year's Day, for as long as I can remember, our family has to have pork and sauerkraut. And we should have succotash too, which is corn and lima beans. But with pork and sauerkraut is the most important thing, because that brings good luck. So I don't know how it gets started, but that's been what's been going on forever. Let me see if there was another quote question up here. I think somebody asked me about batting. So I do love very flat batting. So I use a lot of Mountain Mist batting, And then I also love, at the Fat Quarter Shop, has the Happy Cloud batting. That's also a fabulous batting. It's the right consistency for me. I don't like poofy batting, and I like batting that when you quilt it, the quilt will drape versus stiff. I mean, like, there are some battings that are fairly stiff, and they're not bad. I just use those for like wall hangings and table runners when I don't need them to be pliable. You know, I don't need them to be drapeable and things like that. You know, that would be, you know, that's where I'm looking for. I want that softness, because I also like to have a lot of quilting in my quilts. So that tends to stiffen them up just a little bit till you start washing them. Okay, I think there was one or two more fun questions. Somebody asked, they're Christmas ones, because, you know, that seems like a good thing to answer. Where was this one? Do we open gifts Christmas Eve or Christmas Day? Well, we open gifts both Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, because yay! Because we go to my in-laws, my mother-in-law, and we see my brother-in-law and his family, and any of the kids that are there. Still, they're adults now, and we do Christmas there on Christmas Eve, and then we come here back to Virginia, and we go to my dad's, and then we have Christmas Day there. So we have two, and we drive Christmas Eve and we drive the morning Christmas morning. So I can tell you that which places are open for coffee and a potty break on Christmas morning between my in-laws and here. Let's see, was there one more? Let's see, I think there was one more that I went by. So Tammy asked me, we'll end with this one. So Tammy asked me, what would I hope for Christmas? I don't really have lists. You know, generally, I'm just hoping that I can see as much family as I can, and that I can talk to them, you know, and that's really it. You know, it's really more about that part of it, and just having a relaxing day. And, you know, some years I have a little thing on my list, you know, something I really, you know, want. I have been eyeing those air fryers, so we'll see if I end up getting one of those. But I don't really need it. You know, it would just be kind of cool, because I thought my sister-in-law has one. I thought they were really neat. So sometimes there's an item, and often it's just the getting together with everybody that's important, and, you know, so I like that part. I like having sort of the traditions that we do. So I'm Pat Sloan, and this has been super fun. I'm glad that you were able to join me for this little impromptu chat about things, the Q&A. I love the Q&A part. If you put any more questions on there, if you know, when you're listening, if you think of something, leave it and I'll answer it. I am going to sign off. If you're watching this on YouTube, come over to Facebook to Quilt Along with Pat Sloan, and I will see you there. Merry Christmas, everybody.